The moment you begin working is when your output per unit of time goes up. And so that makes beginning the single greatest hack that you can have for everything else that you do in work. Because the thing is, when you start working, you start getting in the mood to work, right? Like everything else is procrastinating around the work that you think you should do. And when I think about the days that I look back on at the end of my day and think like today was a good day, invariably, it's the same few things. I worked very hard on something that I felt was worth doing. I worked out and I spent time with people that I enjoy being around. If I do those three things, I had a good day. And so that's been my, Alex's simple blueprint for doing things. And I think the point that you were making earlier, I think it's worth hitting on again, which is just that like most people's definition of work is a negative one, which is why they abhor it, which is also why they misunderstand so many people who quote here, are successful or ahead of them or whatever, is that both people, one person says the word work and the other person hears the word pain. And so the first step to like becoming more successful is understanding the language that the people who are successful are using. They're actually defining the word differently. The person who loves walking walks further than the person who loves the destination. So many people want to project their idea of what they think your life should be like onto you. And it's just completely irrelevant. It just doesn't matter. I fundamentally am like, you are going to die and you're not going to matter. And I'm going to die and I'm not going to matter. So why do I care about what you're going to say when you're not even going to show up to my funeral?
Whenever I get to a low point where I think, why do I even bother? I just remind myself, this is where most people stop and this is why they don't win.
For everyone who's like struggling to win, it's like, most of the pain that people experience is purely in their own minds. I think a lot of entrepreneurship and even personal growth is training yourself on how you respond to hard. Because in the early days, hard was, ooh, stop. This isn't good. This is a warning sign. This is a red flag. I should slow down or I should stop, I should pivot. But the more I think about it as a competitive landscape, as I'm clear on what this path is supposed to look like, and these rocks and these dragons are things that I'm going to have to slay along the way to get the princess or get the treasure, I get happier about the harder it is because I know that no one else will follow.
It's a selection effect.
And I think if you can shift from this is hard to no one else will be able to do this, then it flips from being this thing that you're like, oh, poor me, to oh, poor everyone else who's going to have to try. And I think that is so much more motivating as a frame for the exact same circumstance. Path of the exceptional person is one of an exception, which means that you are not with other people. And rather than fighting that or bemoaning it, see it as an indicator that you're on the right path. Because if everyone else were cheering you on, then it means you're not in the right place, because it means you're just like everyone else, and that's not where you want to be. I think a hopeful message that anyone can think about who's in that hard period or in that start period is that it won't get harder.